Alright guys, I am back. So this is gonna be part 2, and I was gonna answer more questions, and I'm gonna save that for part 3. But I think it would be fun if we answered some Askreddit questions. So these are just gonna be some questions here, and we are just gonna answer here. These are just random questions. I thought it'd be fun, and I'll save part 3 coming up for just questions for me. So let's get into it. All right, so I'm gonna go down the list here. The first one here is gonna be, what embarrassing moment keeps you coming back to haunt you? I think he's saying, what embarrassment haunts you the most? For me, I can't think of anything. Yeah, I can't think of anything. I'm gonna skip that one. Okay, here it says, next one. It's gonna be, what age did you start your career? Probably never. Because right now, like I said in the first video, that I'm still, working on my degree. So right now, never really had like a career that, I could see myself being in long term. Even though, I've said, I've been in tech for a couple of years. That was just getting my foot in the door. It's not a company I would want to be part of. Let's see here. If you were legally allowed to break one law only once, what would you break and why? If I could break any law once, what law would I break? Man, that is a tough question. I would probably, I don't know, I was gonna say rob bank. I know that's probably stupid, but that's what you gotta think about for a good 3 months or something. Okay, so next question here. What is the most difficult question you've been asked? Probably, do you love me? I dated a few people, and they asked this question, and it's a hard question because it really depends on the person. It really depends on who you're seeing. You say, yeah, I do, and they might not, or they may love you, but you don't, and that's a deal breaker right there. Let's see here. Okay, here's the next one here. What made you think, damn, I need to turn my life around? I think years ago when I was in high school, that's really when I looked at my life. Like I said in the previous video, I wasn't a very sociable person, but I was that kid who skipped school a lot and just did stupid things. And I realized that that I had nobody to save me if I went to jail or just like literally anything. There was nobody to come for me, and I had to really think about that. I wasn't like the other kids who had a way out, like somebody's going to provide for them. And that wasn't true for me, so that really changed my life. And I think that was one of the things that really put a path on my life. Okay, here's an interesting one here. Okay, it says, why is there a subreddit allowed for communism but not for one for Nazism. Both have killed millions. Why allow either? From my perspective, for being on Reddit for years and years and years, and this is a little true for you, for me, it's an accomplishment, but, quite a few times I've been to the front page on Reddit with some of my posts and, done Secret Santa and stuff like that. And, I've always loved the Reddit community. But what I see is that I think a lot of people don't really understand what communism is. Because when you say communism, people have a brief kind of idea of what it is. They more associate with government. But when you talk anything about Nazi, that is a word that anybody would understand, and anybody assumes it's bad. So I think that's the reason why. I think it's a big stigma on that. So that's my thought on that. I think it's just that a lot of people know what Nazi means compared to communism. Okay, next question here. It says, what small action can make your whole day better? I don't know. I feel like doing something. Just something small. Like cleaning, going out. A lot of people focus on negative things, and that's fine. But just little things, like little rewarding things, like cooking a meal for yourself. Brushing your teeth. I know they don't seem like major things, but those little things do help. Let's see, next one. Okay, this one I can relate to. Have you ever been unlawfully stopped by the police? And what was the reason behind it? When I was younger, when I was like 19, 20, in my early 20s, man, there wasn't a day where I wasn't getting stopped by the police or thrown in the back of the police car. It's nothing I did wrong. It was just I always had that look of like I did something. In fact, there was a time where I was about to be prosecuted for robbing a bank. I know how stupid that sounds, but that is the truth. So yeah, there's been quite a few times that I've been harassed by the police, and luckily I've been able to get out of it. But yeah, I think it's just they have nothing better to do. So let's throw this kid in the back of a car. Let's see. Okay, this one's the next one. People who think that profanity shouldn't be in music, why? I think it depends. A lot's changed from music from the 70s, 60s. In fact, that a lot of music from the 60s and 70s do have profanity in it, but you just don't hear those songs since they're not popular. But I think nowadays, it's just common, and I think if it's done tastefully or in a creative way, yeah, it's good. What healthy addiction do you have? Probably working out. I spent a long time working at a gym, and it just became an addiction where I love the feeling of working out. Not so much anymore. The older I got, I had to, watch. That wasn't overdoing it. But I think that's still a healthy addiction I have. Let's see here. Man. What are some good tips for ridding a house of cat allergens? Probably nothing. So, yeah, probably nothing. You're probably gonna have to get rid of the cat or think of something. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, this is a good question. Okay, because I do this a lot. People that add a horizontal line in the middle of your 1 or 7 or whatever, why do you do it? I don't know. I don't do it for the 1. I do it for the 7. And I don't do it all the time, but almost 90% of the time. I'm a firm believer in penmanship. When I grew up, I grew up learning handwriting, but it was one of those things where, you could sit down and just write random stuff and practice your handwriting, and I just think it came from that. So why do I do it? I don't know. I think it's just, a habit from years and years of doing handwriting. Oop. All right, and I think that is going to be it for these questions. I thought it would be fun to answer some of these random questions. So in part 3, I'll go back to some of the questions for me. So I will see you then. Bye.